He heard all about the sermon. He wants to hear it now. So just a show of hands, how many of you have heard the term drop the mic and walk away? Okay, so we got a few people. So the term drop the mic and walk away, I'll try and explain it as best I can. It's basically like the last word someone has. They say it like right before they leave. It's almost like a challenge sometimes. You see it a lot of times in competitions when people are singing and competing with other singers, or sometimes you see it with comedians when they make a really profound statement or a really funny statement, and they do what's called drop the mic and walk away. And I won't drop it because I don't want to break it, but they literally drop the mic and then they walk away, and it's kind of like the last word of what they have to say. So the drop the mic, walk away, it kind of brings about laughter, makes people want to laugh about it. Other times it's a sense of pride, like the person competing, the person dropping the mic has a sense of pride. Other times it kind of challenges people, and other times it just gets people excited, okay? Now I could keep going on describing drop the mic, but I'm really taking away from the whole effect of this. So it'd be better if I just told a couple stories that demonstrated this. Okay, so this past week, I was walking out of Arabella's, and this was Monday when it was like ridiculously cold. And I'm walking out of Arabella's, and there's two ladies that are coming behind me. And so I very kindly open the door for them, and I hold the door. And they walk past me, and as they're walking past me, they look down, and they see my feet. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, aren't your feet freezing?" And I give my normal response, "No, it's not that bad." They're like, "Well, you must not be from around here." And I'm like, "Well, actually I am. I live right here in Sheboygan." And then their last word, as they walked out, their drop the mic moment, they're like, "Well, then you must just be dopey." Drop the mic and walk away. Jesus has a drop the mic and walk away moment in today's gospel reading. He's been making the circuit, going throughout Galilee, preaching at all the different synagogues, reading from a scroll and then standing up and preaching. Well, in today's gospel reading, we hear Jesus, he stands up, he reads from the scroll of Isaiah, where it's written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He's called on me to preach good news to the poor." And he goes on to say all these other things that he's going to be doing. And then Jesus sits down and he says, "This scripture, where it's written, it's talking about me. Drop the mic and walk away." Now, when Jesus did that, for some people who heard that, they would have thought that was funny. Who is this guy? Who does he think he is, saying that he's God and that he's going to make all these things happen, that the Spirit of the Lord is upon him? Who does he think he is? They would have been laughing at him. Other people, like the disciples, they would have had a little bit of pride. They would have been like, "I'm with him. We're together on this. He's going to make these things happen, and I'm going to be with him when he does it." Other people might have just been depressed, might have just been sad, like, how could someone possibly think this way that this Jesus guy thinks? How could they even think this? And other people might have been a little excited, maybe even angry is a better word, and we'll actually hear about what their anger does in next week's gospel reading. But for this week, it brings about this laughter or this pride or this sadness or this excitement, this drop the mic moment and walk away. So speaking of pride, a couple weeks ago, I was talking to Tom and Mary, our youth directors. And Tom's been working out a lot lately with this Fit Body Boot Camp. And I challenged both Tom and Mary, that I could beat both of them arm wrestling. Big mistake on my part. Because then they put me to the challenge. So I sat down with Tom, and who do you think won? This guy. But unfortunately, my pride was hurt a little bit because I'm right-handed and Tom's left-handed. So we arm wrestled right hand to right hand, and I won. But then we wrestled left hand to left hand, and Tom barely won. But nonetheless, it was sort of a draw, and my pride was hurt a little bit. Well, Scripture has a way of dropping the mic and walking away with each one of us. Sometimes it challenges us. Sometimes the way Scripture is read or the time that it's read, it can challenge us in our comfort zone. Maybe sometimes it's read when we're having a good time and we're laughing, and it's read to us and we're no longer laughing. Maybe other times it's read to us when we're really proud of ourselves and proud of what we've done, and we're no longer feeling proud. Or maybe it's read when we're sad, and it helps us in those sad moments. Or maybe it's read when we're kind of excited about things, and it gets us even more excited. In today's reading, when Jesus reads from the scroll of Isaiah, he brings out all of those emotions for the people listening. He brings out all of those emotions and reminds us of our moments of laughter, pride, sadness, excitement. So I'm reminded of one more drop the mic moment and walk away. Last Sunday, many of you have noticed that we've been recording the sermons, we've been video recording the sermons and posting them online. So Sky's back there. Hi, Sky. She's recording the sermon right now. And so she's got the camera back there, but then I have a microphone on so that it can record me so that folks can hear me. Last Sunday, Pastor Todd was preaching. And I very graciously went to the back and got the microphone, this cordless, or this wireless mic, and brought it to Pastor Todd, because I'm just a nice guy. Why are you laughing, Todd? And so I hand it to Pastor Todd, and he turns it on, and the low battery light is on. And what's going through my head is, it's not a big deal. This happened on Christmas Eve. You turn it on, the low battery light's on. We even replaced the battery once and tried to put a new battery in, and it still said low battery. So we thought, or at least I thought when I handed it to Pastor, oh, it's not a problem. Now, I didn't voice any of this to Pastor Todd. Instead, I hand Pastor Todd the microphone, and here's what I did. Feel free to use this anytime you want. Just shrug your shoulders, smile. But the best part about this whole situation was this was right before he had to go up and preach and give the sermon. So he didn't have time to run to the back and get a battery, and I thought, oh, it's not a problem. Well, you might have noticed the sermon didn't get recorded last week. My bad. But it's still funny because as I handed Pastor Todd the microphone, I literally dropped the mic in his hands and walked away. I could keep going on with illustration after illustration. But the point is, each of us has those own illustrations in our lives. Maybe it's when we're talking about a way that we messed up at work and we're laughing with all our coworkers, or we're laughing with our family. Or maybe it's a moment when the father walks through the doors, walks into the waiting room, and with pride, he announces to his family sitting there, it's a baby girl, and mom and daughter are doing okay. Drop the mic and walk away. Or maybe it's a sad moment when the doctor walks into the waiting room and looks around at the family, and with tears in her eyes, she says, "I'm sorry, there's nothing more we could do." Drop the mic and walk away. Or maybe it's a moment of excitement, and you're playing volleyball, and the team is down a little bit. And the coach turns to the team and says, "We need a libero to go in and play for us. We need an outstanding volleyball player to get out there, go change your shirt, and then hop on the court." And so the libero walks out onto the court and starts playing. And the libero, guess what? She wins the game. The libero. You might have noticed I keep mentioning the word libero. That's 5 times now. Drop the mic and walk away. Our God has those ways of doing the drop the mic situation. When Jesus came into the world as a helpless baby, drop the mic. As Jesus performed the miracles, like the miracle of turning water into wine that we heard about last Sunday, or all those miracles of healing, his miracles of teaching, drop the mic and walk away. On the cross, Jesus dies. Drop the mic. 3 days later, he rises from the dead. Drop the mic. But something unique about our God certainly drops that mic, but our God doesn't walk away. Instead, our God picks up that microphone and says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me." And then he turns to each one of us and says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon you." In those moments of laughter, those moments of pride, in those moments of excitement, in those moments of sadness, our God hands us the microphone and invites us to pray those moments, to share those moments with each other, to share those moments with God, because the Spirit of the Lord is upon each of us. And it's in those moments that God invites us to drop the mic and walk away.